Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Dzkan Toys, where I do reviews and share my thoughts on some of my favorite toy releases. Hope all of you guys are doing well. Today we'll be looking at a set of figures from Max Factory and Good Smile Company, which is the Figma 485 Ichi another version, and also the motorbike known as EX Ride, and the set number is BK91A. Let's first check out the box. Here's a look at the back of the box. So you guys have to excuse me this time because my turntable just broke, so I'll have to rotate these boxes manually for you guys to look at. Here's a look at the back of the EX bike figure. Let's look at the front. Alright, let's get the unboxing started. Here we have our Figma Ichi another unboxed. So let's start with the basic introduction of Figma. Figma is a series of Japanese action figure line produced by Max Factory and distributed by Good Smile Company. The line is known to have many anime-like characters and focuses on articulation. As for our character Ichi, she is from the illustrator known as Nico's Heavily Armed High School Girls illustration series. Originally, there is a version of Ichi in another outfit, and this concept of her is based on the same character, but I believe in an alternative outfit over here as seen. Now, for those of you who are interested in the design of the Heavily Armed series from Figma, make sure to check out the artist Nico, as all of the designs in the Heavily Armed series from Figma are inspired by Nico's drawings. Now let's move on to the aesthetics and paint job of the figure. Starting with the top, when we look at the aesthetics, Ichi over here looks completely different in terms of outfit with the original version release of her. This version seems much more cool as she is wearing a hoodie with a raincoat. In terms of the facial design, we have her face very similar to her original design release of the Figma Ichi version 1. Her eyes still remains green in color. Her hair seems to be tied up inside the hoodie, and overall, the side of her head, the top and the back is being wrapped around the hoodie. Here's a quick side view and a back view. Moving down in terms of the outfit, we do have this raincoat looking outfit, which is very cool. It looks layered as we have one layer over here and here. We have a printing over here, it looks like a number that says 01, but we also have some sort of belt buckles over here in terms of the sculpting design. As we move her around, we also see more protruding line design, which is nicely sculpted, just like the belt buckles on each side of the shoulders. Here we have a look once we lift up the raincoat on each shoulder. So they do have articulation. This is very nice for posing. And an interesting aspect is that over here, the belt sculpting design actually does extend further. So although this is not really connected to anything, as you guys can see here, but when we pose it in a certain angle, it does look like these two shoulder pads are connected. So that's a nice touch over here in terms of Figma engineering. As we move down to the midsection of the body, we can see that she is mainly in this black outfit with her sleeves being black as well. We have more buckle design around the chest to the shoulders connection. So overall, the sculpting details on here looks very good. Here's a closer look from the side view of the sculpting design, which wraps around her upper body. We do have a chest printing over there that says 1 and some letters which are too small to read. Moving down towards the bottom, her coat does split, so we can see part of her belly. So for those of you who are into that, we got you covered over here. Moving down, we can see that Ichi is wearing that signature heavily armed high school girl mini skirt with a white line design. It is sculpted nicely in one piece of plastic. Moving down to the legs, we do have more buckle design with a pocket sculpted over here on one leg. She is wearing socks which goes all the way up to her thighs, similar to all the other heavily armed high school girls. As for the feet, it is also similar to all of the other heavily armed high school girl designs. We have this mechanical looking heel which is very nicely done, futuristic, nicely sculpted. We have white, red, and metallic gold throughout the heels. Here's a closer look at them. In my opinion, they look great, they are awesome, but they are a pain for her to stand in. Without a stand, it is very hard to balance with this type of feet design. In terms of the back design, something worth mentioning is her hairpiece, which is tied up. We do have a peg which connects the hairpiece over here, but because of this separation piece, it does look like an illusion of her hair being tied up, which goes through the hoodie and then out here. But it's not actually connected to the head itself, it's connected to the back center. Another interesting aspect of the design is we do have the buckles which extend down, which just dangles here, makes it look extra stylish. It is made out of rubber, so you can move it around a bit. In terms of the color and the paint job, what do we see here is nicely done. All of the printing are pretty detailed, but we don't have any colors that are too in your face, as most of her outfit is done in the black color. Now let's move on to the accessories. So first we have an entirely new head sculpt that we can swap on. This one is her without wearing the hoodie. It looks quite nice. We can see more of her hair design. And we do still have that futuristic looking piece on each side of the hair. Here's a look at the back of the hair after we switched the head sculpt. In terms of faceplate, we have three options. One is this face, which looks like a normal face. Next up, we have one with her mouth open and also blushing on the cheeks. In terms of the last faceplate, we do have more cheek blushing applied on to the faceplate itself. And this one, the mouth is also open, but instead, we have white paint job instead of the red paint job in the mouth. So this one is supposed to represent the teeth. Next up, we have an accessory piece like this, which attaches to the back. And this is supposed to represent when the hoodie is being folded up. So let's apply this onto the figure. Here we have the result once we attach the accessory to represent the folding hoodie. With it on, she definitely looked more pleasing to the eyes in all angles. Here's a back view. Without it, sometimes it may look like her neck is a bit too long, but with it, it looks just right. In terms of the hand accessory, we have two relaxed palms, two fully open palms, two closed fists, a pair of weapon holding hands, and also a pair of holding hands which are more rounder at the center. This is for her when she uses the bike accessory, holding the handles. Now let's move on to the weapon accessory. We have this cool looking futuristic sword accessory. The weapon itself is done in a metallic gray color, which looks very futuristic. We do have highlights of bronze color, more like a rose gold or bronze color at the tips here, and over here. We do have some printing over here as well, imprinted here and here. O1 again, which stand for Ichi because Ichi in Japanese means one. We have a HAHGS, maybe that's the name of this weapon system. As you guys seen earlier, it does slide over here, which becomes a huge sword. The sword is taller than the Figma itself, which definitely looks very menacing. And this weapon here is usually folded like that for storage, so you can make her carry it like this. But when in use, you just slide this and it becomes a futuristic looking blade. Furthermore, we can take it out of its sheath. This way we have a blade with a white edge. We can imagine it to be some sort of plasma blade. So that's a very interesting design and definitely looks very cool. Here's an example of what Ichi looks like once she is holding the weapon in storage mode. Here we have it in the blade mode with her holding it. And here we have her in a different pose holding it without the sword cover. Overall, the sword design looks amazing. It is really reminiscent for me personally of Cloud from the Final Fantasy series. It looks like a blade design like that. Before I forget, we still have two more accessories to showcase. One is this futuristic looking eye cover piece, sort of like a goggle. So we can assume it's a fighting or combat goggle of sorts, or maybe it's for her to use when she rides her bike. As for the last accessory, we have another skirt piece. I'm not going to swap this on, but the idea is this one is used for her once you want her to sit on the bike, so you can have more space to bend her legs, as seen as the shape of the skirt is in a sitting position rather than the standing one attached to our Ichi figure right now. Now let's just quickly go over the articulation. We have a 360 up and down, side to side. The coat, as mentioned earlier, they can move over here. It is on a ball joint, and we have a lot of wiggle room, so you can put them to the front, the back like that. The midsection also have a joint, so you can move it like that. Very interesting. As for the arms, you can move them all the way up and around, no problem. We have the Figma elbow bend, very good. Waist rotation, side to side. Looking forwards, downwards, that's really good. Looking backwards, not as good. As for the hair, we have more articulation here if she is not wearing the hood. And the ponytail is on a ball joint, so you can wiggle, move it around. As for the legs, we have the knee articulation. The feet, we do have a rotation here, but we don't really have any toe pivot for this ankle design, or this heel design, I should say. One thing that I do want to mention is that you can actually pull the entire leg out like this a little bit, so you have more room to move the leg. She can be in a sitting position, which is very interesting. And when you don't need that articulation, you can just push it back. So that's something interesting. And oh, over here, it's actually another joint. So we do have a rotation at the thigh as well. Besides the ball joint, the black and the skin color separation can rotate too. So pretty standard Figma stuff. Now before we go on to the size comparison, let's just take a quick look at the bike. So overall, the bike is very nicely designed. I really enjoyed the aesthetics. It sort of looked futuristic, but also at the same time, it does look like a modern bike. We have the color mainly in black. Again, a lot of these printing being used, which is very reminiscent of the heavily armed series look and design. We do have silver for the wheels and for some other mechanical structures. Just like the sword weapon itself, we have these rose gold or bronze highlights over the bike. We have 2 headlights over here done in silver. The tire itself is made out of plastic material. It does feel a little rubberish, but it's mostly just plastic. We can actually stand the bike with the kickstand itself like that. And without it, it does roll, so there's some playability like this, which is nice. Other than that, we do have some sort of accessory that look like this and some pegs included. We can actually peg these over here at the side. Either side, of course, what you do is just peg this in. And this is supposed to be a sword holster for the weapon. In storage mode, we have a peg over here. And what we do is just peg it in. The connection is actually not that secure in my opinion, as you can see over here, but you can kind of work around it during your posing. But it does look like you can carry the sword in storage mode with the bike together. Again, very reminiscent of FF7 Cloud's bike. So you can put this on either side of the bike, it does not matter. So it's a nice touch, although it could have been executed a little bit better in my personal opinion. Here we have some size comparisons. This is the Figma Ichi version 1. As we see, they are in completely different outfits and design. The original outfit is still one of my favorites in terms of the heavily armed high school series. But over here, we have Ichi, another in this very cool hoodie outfit, which I really do enjoy as well. So it's up to you guys which one you like better, and you can go from there. Over here we have one more size comparison with the Mayfix John Wick. Alright, final thoughts on today's Figma review, which is the Figma 485 Ichi another version, as well as the extra accessory, which is the EX Ride BK91A. For the Figma itself, I would say it is highly recommended if you're into heavily armed high school girl series designs, because this one, just like the other ones from the same series, have amazing design from the original artist Nico. Now in terms of the negatives, I would say one of them is that without a stand, this Figma would have an extremely hard time balancing due to the design of the heels. Other than that, weight issue can come up sometimes due to gravity, of course, and when having a big weapon like that, certain poses would definitely be harder than others. In terms of the bike, I would say it looks extremely amazing, just like the Figma itself. you can actually use this bike not only for Ichi over here, but many other Figmas that you own in your collection, or other similar scaled 1/12 size figures. It is for sure nice to have, but not a necessity. Again, it is up to personal preference whether you like the design of the bike or not. For me, it definitely looks amazing and matches with the Ichi Figma really well in terms of a displaying possibility. Anyways, there goes the end of today's review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, remember to support it by liking and subscribing. Turn on that bell notification. And as always, my friends, stay young at heart, and we're out. Oh man, so my turntable actually broke for this review. That's why I can't spin it. Now, should I get a new turntable for my reviews, or should I just get another Figma? Decisions, decisions, decisions.